G'day, welcome back to the Play on Footy channel. My name's Bailey. So first of all, we're going to be recapping the awesome game between Brisbane Lions and Carlton. Let's face it, half time, we didn't really think Carlton would get back into it. You know, they had a bit of a sniff, but credit to them. I mean, the third quarter was their best quarter, undoubtedly. And then the final quarter, just coming back with Mackay slotting that late goal with I think a minute to go, was just phenomenal to win by a point. Obviously unfortunate for Brisbane, Kitty Coleman did a suspected ACL. He's going to go and get scans today. So if you have him in your fantasy team, then you'd be pretty disappointed waking up to that news. And the other one would be Devin Robinson. Not sure why he wasn't picked for this game. Probably more of a fringe player at this stage, but interesting out for Brisbane. To begin with, Brisbane had a really fast start. So Brisbane kicked 7 goals in the first term to Carlton's 2, and then they added another 2 more in the second term to Carlton's 2 again. Then the third quarter was an absolute farce. Carlton kicked 7 goals to Brisbane's 1 goal, and that was the telling difference at that stage, and that's when they really knew that they had a bit of a sniff. Going into the contested ball really dropped off for Brisbane, and Brisbane's forwards really went to sleep. I mean, they really didn't impact going forward at all. Charlie Cameron kicked 2, and Danaher kicked a couple for the game as well, but there was no real forward pressure there. Big standouts with Charlie Curnow. I mean, all he needs is 10 minutes and he can pile on a couple of goals. And Mackay really stood up as well, obviously in the dying stages of the final term. But for me, the key standouts were from Carlton, George Hewitt with 27 disposals. Obviously Curnow with 4 goals. I'll probably add Mackay in there as well, just because of his sort of forward pressure, and he actually spent a bit of time in the ruck as well. Dane Zorko for fantasy was at 105, so he obviously did really well in this game. And I thought McGovern down back for Carlton really held firm, especially with Jacob Wiedering out with that calf. Joe Danaher and Eric Hipwood just went missing. I mean, they kicked 1 goal to 2 behinds each. So Charlie Cameron kicked 2 goals. So yeah, forward pressure from Brisbane was just not there. The engine room really dropped off. There was no sort of contest around the footy, and Carlton were just really winning it out after half time. So yeah, it was really, I guess if I was Fags, I'd be extremely disappointed with the third quarter. Especially given that they had such a hot start, and really, personally, I was like, okay, I'm going to turn it off pretty soon because it was getting out of hand. It's very unlike Brisbane to have fades like that. They didn't really have many of those I can recall from last year. I know it's pretty early in the season. They've got a lot of sort of things that they could probably work on, undoubtedly, that they'd admit to, but it's still worrying signs from a side that played the Premiership last year who just missed out really to Collingwood to sort of open with that and to lose their massive margin that they had built up so early in the game so quickly. I mean, after half time, it was like they were a different team almost, and there was no sort of there was no running off half back or anything like that they were doing in the first and second quarter that, you know, generated in forward pressure and ultimately a goal. So it's really concerning. I think, you know, if I was a Brisbane Lions supporter, I'd be questioning whether Fags is the right man for the job. He's a good manager, but, you know, is he a premiership coach? Is he going to take this team to the next step? You know, and I think a start like this, especially to Carlton, who's going to be challenging this year, undoubtedly, even though they've had, you know, Silvani and Wiedering out with injuries, they're still going to be up there. So, a bit worrying signs for Brisbane, but I really do hope that they can turn things around pretty quickly, as they only lost by a point, but they were up by 46 at half time. So yeah, it's a big contrast and big fall from grace, especially with Kitty Coleman doing an ACL. Their season's gone from bad to worse pretty quickly, so hopefully they can bounce back and get ready for next week. There was a hit late in the game by George Hewitt to Lachie Neale. What do you guys think? How many weeks for this act? Comment below. Cheers, guys.
Rules and just the changing landscape. So last year, the clip to Lachie Neale's chin would probably have been a misconduct fine. This year, under those MRO changes, the onus is on the player to, and I quote, not to commit a strike when seeking to defend or push an opponent. What does that mean? So no accidental strikes anymore.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.